A mailbag here as part of our live show reacting to the Mike McCarthy out news. Healy 3521. Jerry calls and you are GM with all hiring and firing power. Every coach and staffer in the NFL is available across the board. Who are you taking? Ooh, I'm going to take a current sitting head coach. Dealer's choice between like Andy Reid and Sean McVay, and I still like Kyle Shanahan a lot, who maybe is actually, 1% likely, unlike the other guys being 0% there. I'm going to hire those guys. I'll hire Steve Spagnuolo as my defensive coordinator. I might keep Bones Fossil as my special teams coach. I'm going to do just like loaded up stuff, and maybe I'll hire like McVay and Ben Johnson together and do something wacky and wild. Like, I would spend millions of dollars on my staff, which Jerry Jones would not do. Nathan B. says Ben Johnson is number 1. Kellen Moore is number 2. I would love Ben Johnson. I don't know how feasible it becomes from his perspective. I don't know if he wants to do it with the Jones boys. I think Kellen Moore is a real candidate, but they're going to have to figure out, just the timing of everything on that front, and if Kellen is open to potentially pursuing that in the future. Now, if you want to be a part of our Cowboys mailbags, now is the time to subscribe. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Get more free Cowboys videos. Go live for events like this. We'll have a ton of coverage on the coaching staff search as well. Jimmy, I'd be pissed if we hired Rex Ryan, Mike Zimmer, Marvin Lewis. I think the over-under interviews there is like 1 at most. Like, I don't think they're going to interview Rex Ryan. I think that's a terrible idea. Zimmer, I think, is more likely to retire. And Marvin Lewis, they interviewed him once already. I feel like that was almost maybe a favor to Marvin to get him back in the NFL coaching search calendar cycle, and got a job with the Raiders in the end. From McCassell, how about Matt Nagy? Yeah, I don't want to talk about Matt Nagy. He wasn't a good Bears head coach. And the only reason why we are interested in him is because he's the Chiefs OC, which is an Andy Reid-led job. They have Patrick Mahomes, and the offense wasn't even that good this year. Matt Nagy to me is just like a but why candidate. That doesn't appeal to me at all. McCarthy was a better coach. I want better than McCarthy, at least the possibility of better than Mike McCarthy. Now, this Cowboys coaching search does matter quite a bit. So what is your confidence level in the Cowboys this offseason with the coaching search now underway? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Object Pawara, would you say Dak is to blame for this firing? I mean, I think you can blame all the players to an extent, no? Like, they didn't get the results either. But I think, like, in terms of whose fault it is the most, it's like starts with Jerry and Mike more than anything. Like, the Jones boys set up Mike for failure this year. I don't think Mike had done enough to justify keeping him anyway. But, you start with the blame for the firings. I think you look at the head coach himself and the ownership more than anything. From Jeffrey, instead of hiring a head coach, we consider trading for one. In that case, I would want Sean McVay. Me too. I don't know why the Rams would do that, though. I love Andy Reid. Don't know why the Chiefs would do it. Because, like, the coaches you want aren't available. And even then, you're moving on from draft picks, which you need draft picks. And I think that the more likely outcome is you just hire somebody. Reason why coaching trades don't happen very often. From Alex, Jerry needs to toss a bag at prime time. I actually don't think he does. Deion Sanders, favorite player of all time, love who he is as a college coach. He has done a good job. I think it's a terrible fit in Dallas. This is a circus already. Now we're adding the primetime stuff to it. I don't think that's a good idea at all. His coaching style doesn't work as a NFL head coach. Like, the stuff that he does great, the reason why it works in Colorado either already exists in Dallas, the national attention, or it's like recruiting and stuff. Doesn't work that way. Now, Deion expressed interest in playing with his son. Well, that's not going to happen. Cowboys can't get Shedeur with where he's probably going to go. Doesn't make any sense to go trade for him. I don't want Deion. I want him to keep having success in college, and then we can do Florida State destinations if they end up moving on from Mike Norvell. That intrigues me. Jimmy, I don't want Nagy as well. Also, Kingsbury, Doug Pederson, Gruden, or Flores better than Mike McCarthy. I don't think Doug Pederson is, because that got worse every year. He was a coach, basically. Kliff Kingsbury's failed twice. I don't want that one. Gruden's a wild card. He hasn't won a playoff game since 2002, 8, something like that. It's been 8, I think it was the last playoff berth. It's been a long time. No, 8 was his last winning season, 08. It's been a long time. Entertaining as hell. That works. Flores, I think, is a better coach. I don't know. Maybe Kliff Kingsbury falls in this bucket too. Are they better head coaches? I like what Kliff's done on offense this year. Been a bit more stable than it's been in years past. Flores is my favorite defensive coordinator to watch. He just does stuff and it works. But head coaches, different animal there. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It is playoff time. It is now or never. So don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with PrizePicks. They are available in over 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. I always advise the flex play. That way, if you get one wrong, you still come out on top. My boy Jack Lotteray has had some success as of late. He's got more than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen yards on the ground, which I think is a lot of fun. And he's also doing Joe Mixon anytime touchdown. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Jeffrey, I think Jerry is satisfied with the success he's had in the 90s, so Super Bowl run is not a priority to him. I think the Cowboys' mindset has been, they are not, their actions prove it, they are not a championship at all cost team. That's not who they are. They are we want to be a contender every year. We want to be in the dance and keep ourselves in the national media focus and always be a team that is being discussed. And being a perennial 10-win team, which they've most done a great job of, outside of injuries in most cases, gets them there. That's not what I want. That's not what we want, period. Jimmy, hopefully we hire Joe Brady, Pete Carroll, Byron Leftwich, or Bobby Slowick. Is Kellen Moore better than McCarthy? First off, why is Byron Leftwich on this list? Again, it's the what the hell is a polar bear doing Arlington, Texas meme? No. Leftwich is not an NFL head coach candidate. Don't let the Patriots Rooney Rule sham interview process fool you otherwise. Now, Brady, I'm intrigued by. Pete Carroll, of your fired coaches association list, probably one of the better ones out there. Slowick, I have been underwhelmed by, but was better in the second half against the Chargers. Although, a pick six helps you a long way in terms of scoring points. I thought Kellen's offenses were better than Mike McCarthy's offenses. I also don't know if it was good enough for what we want. And I kind of wonder if that's actually change. Is that type of change that we're searching for? I don't know. Now, who do you want to hire as the next Cowboys head coach? Lots of options for you. Sound off for me in the comments section of today's show. Splash Gordon's going to be Kliff Kingsbury. Jerry and Dan Quinn have bad blood. I think Jerry wants to stick it to him. That's a theory. That's a fun conspiracy theory that I don't mind at all. I don't think Kellen returns to Dallas. I do think there's some stuff to be worked out from Kellen and the Cowboys' perspective. Like, Kellen kind of got kicked to the curb a little bit, and I don't know. I think that led to some bad feelings. I think the Cowboys still like Kellen, though. I think they've always liked Kellen. Kliff, I've seen him be a head coach twice, and he was never good at it. It's good offensive mind, but he's not a good head coach. He's kind of like, he's like the Wade Phillips of offensive coordinators. He's the Dick LeBeau of offensive coordinators. Like, those guys were good at their jobs, but they weren't good when they got promoted to a higher role. King Thaddy Daddy's back. McCarthy has no discipline. I need discipline. Look, when you're the head coach and your team perennially leads the league in flags, Whose fault is that? I don't disagree. Towboat Ty. I think the Cowboys go the ex-player route to coach them, or a former, like Jason Witten type, or a former coordinator. My guess, and we'll see if that looks stupid or not, my guess is the Cowboys go one of two paths. They go with a former head coach or someone that they know, that they have a relationship with. Like Aaron Glenn fits that mold. Jason Witten, Kellen Moore fit that mold. I think hiring a former player to be my head coach has not been a coach yet at a high level. It's a terrible idea. There's a massive difference between Dan Campbell getting a head coaching job after being an interim, being an assistant for 10 years, and Jason Witten doing a good job at Taps level high school in Texas. It's a gulf of a difference there. So I don't, former player, great, whatever. That's not a defining factor to me. It's kind of like, and I'll mention this probably a bunch in the future. Knowing ball is a prerequisite for any job in the NFL. It cannot be a deciding factor or the factor of, well, he knows football. Okay? So does everyone watch it. It's not a reason to hire somebody. Drew DTX going to be sad if Zimmer gets promoted. Praying for Ben Johnson, or Aaron Glenn. They fucked up, by the way. Probably shouldn't have said an F-bomb there, but whatever. The next window to do those virtual interviews with Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, are after the season ends for the Lions. This was their window this past week, and they missed it. So they have to wait if they want those guys. Which, how do you want them if you don't get to talk to them? Bad process that's cost them. It's a bad process. Which is why I asked this question. Do you trust the Jones boys? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments of today's video. Alex says youth in a coach and experience matters. Hire Jon Gruden. Okay, so I'll kind of go big picture here, specifically with Gruden. That's fine if you value experience. How do we value a head coach who has not made the playoffs since 2007, who has not won a playoff game since 2002, and had all the off-the-field stuff going on around him? I worry about that. There's a lot of baggage to unpack with Jon Gruden. And they were doing a better job in Vegas when he got, had to resign because of the email stuff. But there's a lot of butts involved. And there's a butt with every candidate, to be clear. But I got some questions there. Alex, clear that Zimmer should stay as a DC and be more vocal and controlling. Whoever's head coach need to recognize that. Wonder if we get a new head coach and OC. If you're getting a new head coach, you're going to get a new OC. I don't know why you wouldn't. Hiring Zimmer and John are stupid. I'm fine to keep Zimmer, but I want to let my head coach make the decision. I don't want to do this stuff where you pick the boss, but say, hey, you're the boss, but actually you're number two, we're picking first. That's not how it's supposed to go. So if my new head coach wants Mike Zimmer, cool, fine. I got no issues there. But if I hire, like, hypothetically, everyone wants Ben Johnson, right? If I hire Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson comes to me and says, hey, I want to hire this guy. I want to hire Robert Saleh. I want to hire Dennis Allen. Okay. I'm not going to make him pick Mike Zimmer. I'm not going to pick my new assistant coach or my head coach. You've done that twice already, by the way. Didn't work out either time. So I like Zimmer. I thought he did a good job. He can stay if my head coach wants him. But I want my head coach to pick that. King Daddy says, I'd love Ben Johnson. Someone going and smart. Again, I agree. Again, you missed your window to interview him for now, at least, which, again, is a bad process. Brian, I don't know if it's Vu or Vo. Did the wild card results change your opinion on any potential head coaches, i.e. Liam Cohen? Also, when our O-line coach Gani ruined Tyler Smith. I also think the constant shuffling of the left side, the left tackle spot, was a negative for you on that front. I think if you're letting one game make the decision for you, then you didn't really know if that was your guy anyway. I want to interview Liam Cohen as my head coach. I have a tough time blaming Liam Cohen for a game in which, his quarterback's fumbling the ball and turning it over. And the defense can't get a stop off the field. Like, I think Liam Cohen is a good coach. He's done great stuff with Will Levis. I want to interview him. That has not changed. Do the interview process and then figure out who you want as the head coach.